Okay, in our science journey, we are discussing moon today. So pause and reflect for a moment. What comes to your mind with the word moon? So I paused and reflected, and what came to my mind was, yes, moon has an impact on tides. I read somewhere. Fine, but doesn't impact my life much. Then the next thing came was, in good old days, obviously moon was very, very important. People used to travel at night because the day was very hot and the night was used for traveling, and the moon would obviously be very helpful. But what is in it for me? I now travel differently, right? Then it came to my mind some very important festivals, Eid, Punami, they are related to a moon. Fine, but okay, I don't see moon on those occasions most often. I celebrate it differently. And few other things came. Yeah, we relate moon to beautiful face, beautiful things. Oh, Monday, month, they came from moon. We started measuring time from moon. And yes, literature, moon is important. Moon uh, is likened to the beauty and light and all these things. But I'm no longer, I'm now a science and technology guy in the digital age and the fourth industrial revolution. What of these things really connect much to me? Not really. So, another dimension was, moon calendar looks really artistic if we look at, but I no longer use this sort of calendar, so does not really connect to me anywhere. So, if it doesn't connect to me, is for me is okay, nice to have, good to talk. It's an history sort of thing. This is a sort of impression that we get. If that is the case, maybe you also thought the similar that sort of things that a trivial sort of connection comes. It's not really very important. Times have changed. So let's discuss the scenario. What if moon is no more? So one of the impact would be find this poor marine creature Nautilus. It lives in a very elegant shell shape, like a perfect spiral, and lives on the outer side. And it keeps counting the number of days it takes to moon to circle the. Fine, he will be a little disturbed. Okay, not much for me. The nocturnal animals, poor owl would have problem hunting. Fine, but okay, not a big deal. Insects fly to the moon and they find their mates and they do mating. Okay, but insect is an insect. I'm human. Fine. Yes, but then there are bigger changes. Mangrove forest, which are on the coastal areas, they are saying we depend on the tidal motion and we sweep in the nutrients, and which is very important for the fisheries. Okay, a fishery will be a little impacted. Not really very hard. We can survive. Now go a little further. Ocean currents. Ocean currents are like blood in our body. It's about 2 decades. The entire water in the ocean is circulated, and most of our big cities will actually be not there. They will simply vanish if the currents are not there. That's our thermal stabilizing system, and they also depend upon the tide. Oh, then I need to worry about important. So far so good. It seems there is some risk, sort of moderate or low level. But let's pause. See how moon works. Moon orbits around the Earth the same way Earth orbits around the Sun. Fine, good. But what are their proportions of their masses and etc.? Let's look deeper into it. So if we take Moon as one, Moon is quite heavy, 7 and with 20 zeros kgs, but Earth is more than 80 times the Moon, and Sun is 300,000 times on that scale if the Moon is one on mass. Now, weight is not mass, weight is force. We are discussing mass, amount of matter, right? But you see, nothing in cosmology can be drawn to the scale. We can't even draw solar system. What to talk of galaxy and other things. Solar system. If we make Earth equal to the size of a marble, the entire solar system will take a plane or a paper whose radius is more than 14 kilometers, just the planet part, and the upper part, the Oort cloud, etc. You can imagine it's much more than that. So this sort of, it's a dumple sort of situation. It's not that the earth is moving around the sun, it's the earth moon dumple, and this dumple is not a balanced one of them is very heavy and one is light, but the light one is moving around it and its motion is shaky, unbalanced, it's tumbling sort of. Now imagine if it is tumbling and it's very centered, it's the center of the mass, it's not exactly the center between the two or center of the, it's somewhere between the center of the earth and the center of the moon. That's why it's sort of wobbling. So it's called barycenter. Bar mean barometer, where it comes from, the heavy, the center of the heaviness, where one side is heavy and one side is light, then it sort of wobbles. You can imagine this. So now, this is the sort of thing it is doing. And now take out one side of this skewed dumbbell and what would happen? Two things will happen up front. One of those things is that now we know that Earth has some tilt with the ecliptic plane, and that tilt gives us all this weather systems and different seasons at different places in the Earth, right? This tilt will simply be haywire. It can be anywhere. We don't know. We can't have any idea, but it will be totally disturbed. That means the hot might remain hot and the cold might remain cold. All our weather systems and the patterns would be totally destroyed if the moon is not in the equation. Imagine. And the second part, since that dumbbell, recall that dumbbell is skewed and it is shaking and tumbling, right? It's a rickety sort of motion, and one of them all of a sudden goes out. The path that Earth will take would not be the same ellipse. It will totally be on a different sort of ellipse, and our distance from the, in extreme case, it might fall into the sun and it might go off, or it still keep rotating on a totally different path, which does not let life survive on the Earth at all. Imagine the dependence. These two impacts depend on a very critical factor, that where Earth is at that point in time, right? Because Earth, anything which moves around an ellipse, Kepler told these laws. All these interesting things are not in our courses because the schools are not meant to inspire. The schools are meant for a task and a labor. Kepler made a very beautiful discovery. Kepler was contemporary of Galileo Galilei, who is said to be the father of modern science. When the year Galileo died, just to put in perspective, Newton was born. So Galileo and Kepler were contemporary, 1630s, 40s. They were at the peak of their discoveries. And he said that when a body is moving, it moves in such a way that the area that it distends with the center is always equal in equal amount of time. That means when it is closer, when the Earth is closer to the sun, it moves faster. And when it is on the other side, it's on the farther side, it will move slower, so that the area distended remains the same. That was one of the Kepler's laws. Now you imagine if the moon divorces, separates, runs away at the fastest stage, it could be totally devastating, and it might just go off the solar system, and you never know what happens then. So this is a sort of, this is a way, our what if question has brought up us to this level. Imagine this one question, and now we realize, oof, I thought it's only Nautilus and owl and few insects. But no, it's not. We could not exist. Nature, we call it nature because it's written in our books, but it's the creator actually, has designed things in such a meticulous way Take out anything in those billions of variables and everything starts collapsing, right? Moon is also a big thing in the equation. We can't survive without it. In the last video, we discussed that before moon, the Earth's day was only 6 hours. In 6 hours, imagine we couldn't even do our sleep cycles. And with the coming of the moon, then gradually the Earth day came to 24 hours, and then the man was able to be sent to this place, and he could survive, and it synced with our circadian rhythm and all that. So that is amazing. So the lesson of today is, yes, we learned a little bit more about the moon, and we thought the moon is only good for the art, etc. But no, the lesson is that if we do not ask why and what if questions, particularly the what if question, we really can't connect to the things. And this what if question can go in anything. It can go in history. What if there was no Gandhi? What if a colonialist had not invented gunpowder? What would be the course of history, right? What if there was no world wars? And it could be very simple and interesting things as well. What if the chicken can talk? And what if the cats can do maths? Or what if we can fly? Or what if the gravity simply disappears? So in each this what if questions, I don't recall in my 16 years of itinerary that we had this sort of interesting discussion on anything. But without this what if questions, knowledge, information remains at the surface level. We can't reach the depth, and we can't really connect. And if we cannot connect, we can't have that sense of gratitude and the sense of satisfaction which these connections create. Thank you very much.